Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it last.
How do I manage low performers in the workplace? That's what we're going to be unpacking this time around on Making It Last podcast. Welcome. I'm Noreen Daly, and remember, it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. And who are we doing that with? Sonia, Funna, Evelyn. She's an international development expert, and she's also an artist. Now, Sonia, before we unpack the conversation this time around, you're an artist. What do you do? Because when people say they think of different things. Are you a singer? What do you do? Visual artist? What do
Yes.
you do?
So I was born in Sierra Leone and have a real affinity for masks. The ones behind me, I bought in Sierra Leone from a Sierra Leonean artist, but I paint masks and I paint canvases. So my medium is spray paint, acrylic, and sometimes other bits, stones and things like that, just for texture. I was an art minor in college until my African father told me I will be poor my whole life. So I refused for me to continue being an art minor. So I have to say I left it and then I picked it up much later in life. And now I paint all the time.
Okay. So is this that you do this for fun, or you actually, if it is that somebody wanted to buy something from you,
Yes.
it's possible?
It's possible. I just am now about to relaunch my website, soniafunna.com, but I
Okay.
do sell pieces. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. All right. So that's introducing you to the other side of you. So we also like to show that as well. All right. So now, how do I manage low performers? And I'm gonna add something to it, which is how, if somebody thinks that I'm doing what I think is enough, how do you then make it clear that no, you're really underperforming? So I'm kind of asking two things in one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think as a manager, it's always really important to make sure that you yourself have set your teams up for success.
Okay.
So the first question I would ask is, have you made your expectations of that performer clear?
Okay.
Do they know what is expected of them? And have you communicated when they have not met those expectations? Because a lot of times in the workplace, what I've seen with managers and low performers, high performers, is just a real lack of communication,
Okay.
which can solve all manner of things. To your direct question, it's really critical to find out why. Why is that person underperforming? Is it that they have something else happening in life and this is a season? Is it that they are chronically underperforming and perhaps maybe they're not the best fit for that role? What is it? Because there are 100 reasons why people underperform, right? And once you discover what that is, and again, it's all contextual. It depends on the kind of work. There are some fields of work where you can tolerate being able to build someone up to performing at the standard that you require of them. And then there's some places where you just don't have that luxury because of the nature of the work. So once you figure out the why, it is all about then figuring out if this is something you can work with. If it's somebody who says to you, you know, I'm just not happy. I'm not interested in what I'm doing. And so that's why. Okay, well, you may need to replace that person, right? Because at some point, people can get in the way of the work. If it's somebody who says, I'm interested, but I'm just really struggling. I don't know how to do X, and that is required of me. Make a plan. Figure it out with them. You as a manager, keep on that plan. you as a manager give perhaps the extra attention that will be needed and monitoring, perhaps not micromanaging. Those are very different, to make sure that that person is able to perform. And then you set goals, whether it is, I want to see, and for some people, markers are very, very important. They're important anyway, but for some, more important than others. Set targets. Are you meeting those targets? If you are, great. If you're not, why? But you as a manager at some point also have to determine if that person should still be on your team.
But if it is that as a manager, you think that you're doing all of those things that you just said, you basically think you've created the environment that it is that people know what is expected of them. You think that you're open enough, but yet, open enough for different conversations, difficult ones even so, but then you find that people are still underperforming. What then?
So I have to say, thinking it and verifying it are different things. So let's assume you have asked, let's assume you've sought feedback, let's assume you can show it. I have created these expectations. They're clear to everybody. They're written down. You can see it. Truly, it's sometimes it just doesn't work out. And sometimes you cannot, many times you can take someone who was a low performer to being a better performer. Sometimes to being a high performer, but not always. Sometimes you just have to part ways. Hi, I am Sonia Funna Evelyn, and you're watching the Making It Last podcast with Noreen Daly. We're going to take a break with a word from our partners.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at langdolanguage@gmail.com. Because the real question is, how can we help you?
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
I recently have been coached by the great Miss Noreen Daly. I own a video company. I'm also an online influencer. So I do a lot of speaking virtually and in person. She was able to point out some of my weaknesses that I didn't yet notice. And I 100% recommend Miss Noreen Daly as your coach.
Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We
Welcome back to the Making It Last podcast with Noreen Daly. I am Sonia Funna Evelyn. Let's continue the conversation.
How do you know that it's time for the separation to happen?
So this is when metrics matter. This is when saying, Julie, you're not performing. Here are the 5 things you need to do, or whatever that magical number is that is reasonable. Don't give Julie 100 things that Julie needs to do in the next 2 weeks to stick around. Performance improvement plans, particularly when they're well structured, when they're well designed, can be fantastic tools for the person, for you. But this is when really having something that you can use to actually show how someone is improving or not improving is critical.
How have you managed low performers?
I have found out why. And sometimes it has been, I have this deeply personal crisis happening that is taking away my mental clarity. And we can deal with that. And I've had people who have just needed to step away for a bit and they've come back stronger. And then I've had people who just don't fit for one reason or another. I've had people do performance improvement plans, improve, and then fall back after they've improved, right? So I've had staff who are kind of, they show up in a crisis, and that's how they excel. They excel when there's like a burning reason to, but it's not consistent. And sometimes it just, that's not what their duties require. Their duties required consistency. So I've used performance improvement plans, and I have made, there's not a single decision that I have made without that tool. I will say, when it comes to an underperformer, I will say that I have been blessed to not have many underperformers, truly, in my career. I don't know what that's about, but it has been, I have worked with very bright and incredible people. So there, I have a few cases of those. I've seen them in my organization. And as I said, I do have experience with this. So for your viewers, so they know they're not talking to somebody who hasn't had to deal with underperformance. I absolutely have. But I've worked with a lot of people, and I'm fortunate to say, yeah.
Okay. Even though the name of it should actually give a pretty good idea of what it is, what are some of the basic things that are usually on that performance improvement plan?
Yeah, so
people,
it's no, please.
Yeah. No, I'm saying because some people might be thinking, okay, yes, I think I know what she means, but I just want to make sure, because I'm sure people, you know, of managers of different levels, I'm sure will see this or watch this. So what are some of the basic things that I'm sure would transcend just about any area that should be on that plan?
Yeah. So first, perhaps let's define an underperformer, right? It's somebody who is not meeting whatever targets or whatever goals are needed. If you don't have goals written down for that person to be able to understand that, it's somebody who is getting in their work late on time. Somebody who isn't perhaps doing what they're supposed to do, so other people have to pick up their slack, right? It's someone who is making the work harder. Okay. So on that performance improvement plan, it would list out very clearly what the tasks are, what they are responsible for, and how much time they have to complete that. So if there is a task that is sets up a calendar invite, I'm just trying to think of an example, every week for a meeting. Okay, maybe that's a one-off. Monitor that, respond to people, a one-off, a daily, whatever that consistency is. You have it on the plan. Now, performance improvement plans are typically for a period of time, the entire improvement plan. It can be for 1 month, it can be for 3 months, whatever that is. And you can Google this. I mean, there are templates online, but in it, you really have to list what this individual is responsible for, or the areas where they are underperforming. And then you write down what is expected of them. And when you enter into those regular conversations, which is critical, every 2 weeks, whatever that is, during the period of time that plan is in place, you can discuss how it's going.
Thank you for
Sure.
sharing. As we're wrapping up, if somebody has missed everything you just said, it literally flew over their head, what's the one idea you want as managers to get to say, this is how you manage the low performers who might be in your specific workspace?
Find out why. Remember that you are dealing with whole people. They are not just robots who came to do a job. Figure out if they add value to your team or could add value to your team. Make a plan and follow through with that plan. The last point I would make is, to the previous conversation, make sure that you are a self-aware manager, because perhaps you are part of the problem.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sonia.
Thank you.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life.